Have you ever wondered why our winters feel less cold and summers unbearably hot? Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey into the depths of our evolving planet. Today, we're delving into the profound conundrum of climate change. This isn't just about the sweltering heat waves or the biting frosts. It's about a global transformation that's reshaping our world in ways we could hardly imagine. Climate change is a complex puzzle, a myriad of interconnected phenomena that affect every single life form on this planet. It's not just about us humans, or the animals, or the plants. It's about every drop of water in our oceans, every grain of sand in our deserts, and every gust of wind in our skies. It's about how we live, how we adapt, and how we survive in the face of an ever-changing environment. This is not just a story, it's a call to understanding, to action, and to responsibility. Stay with us as we take you through the chronicles of our changing climate. The signs of climate change were not sudden but gradual, almost imperceptible. Picture this, we're stepping back in time, back to the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. It was a time of incredible progress, with new machinery and technology transforming societies worldwide. Yet, unbeknownst to many, this was also when the seeds of climate change were being sown. With the rise of industry came an increase in greenhouse gas emissions. These gases, primarily carbon dioxide and methane, began to accumulate in the Earth's atmosphere. This accumulation formed a sort of blanket around our planet, trapping heat and gradually warming the surface. This phenomenon, known as the greenhouse effect, started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Yet it was the beginning of what we now know as global warming. As the years rolled on, the emissions kept rising, and so did the global temperatures. The Earth's average temperature began to creep upwards, slowly at first, then more rapidly. Scientists began noticing a trend. The hottest years on record were no longer anomalies, they were becoming the norm. The world was getting hotter, and the pace was picking up. Simultaneously, other warning signs began to emerge. Glaciers and ice caps started melting at an unprecedented rate. Sea levels began to rise, threatening coastal cities and low-lying regions. Unusual weather patterns started to occur with harsh winters, scorching summers, and more frequent extreme weather events. The world's climate was changing, and the evidence was becoming hard to ignore. Yet for a long time these changes went largely unnoticed by the general public. They were subtle, gradual, and often hidden in plain sight. The world continued to spin, industries continued to grow, and the signs of climate change continued to mount. The subtle signs were there, but the world was slow to react. The early indicators of climate change were overlooked, downplayed, or outright denied. It was a slow awakening, a gradual realization of the reality that our planet was transforming. But as we'll see in the next segment, the evidence of climate change is now unmistakable and undeniable. As years rolled by, the evidence became more apparent and undeniable. We're now firmly in the grip of a reality that's been decades in the making, as the effects of climate change become increasingly clear and alarming. The first glaring sign: global temperatures. Over the past century, the Earth's average temperature has risen by more than 1 degree Celsius. While this might not sound like much, it's important to remember that this is an average increase across the entire planet. In some regions, the increase is much more dramatic, leading to heat waves and prolonged droughts. Next, we turn our attention to the poles. The polar ice caps are melting at an unprecedented rate. This isn't just a problem for polar bears and penguins. It's a global issue because this melting ice is causing sea levels to rise. Islands and coastal regions around the world are at risk of being submerged, displacing millions of people. The rising sea levels bring us to another piece of evidence. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and more severe. Hurricanes are growing stronger, droughts are lasting longer, and floods are becoming more destructive. These are not isolated incidents, but patterns that scientists have linked directly to climate change. And let's not forget about our oceans. They've absorbed much of the excess heat from the atmosphere, which has led to widespread coral bleaching and the death of marine life. The ocean surface is also becoming more acidic due to increased carbon dioxide levels, posing a threat to all marine organisms. In the face of this evidence, we can't turn a blind eye or bury our heads in the sand. The rise in global temperatures, melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and increased frequency of extreme weather events are all irrefutable proof of climate change. These changes are not just numbers and graphs, they are the reality we live in. Let's not forget that our planet is our home, and it's the only one we've got. Each piece of evidence is a call to action, a reminder of the urgent need for us to do something before it's too late. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a threat to life as we know it. It's a complex, multifaceted problem that impacts every corner of our globe and every aspect of our lives. Let's start with biodiversity. The beautiful variety of life on Earth is under siege. As habitats change and disappear, many species struggle to adapt. Coral reefs bleach under the heat of warmer oceans, and polar bears face starvation as the sea ice they rely on for hunting melts away. The loss of these species is not just a tragedy in itself, it also threatens the delicate balance of ecosystems that we rely on for food, water, and air. Next, consider the impact on human health. Rising temperatures increase the risk of heat waves, which can cause heat stroke and exacerbate heart and lung conditions. Changes in weather patterns can also lead to more severe storms, floods, and wildfires, leading to injuries, deaths, and mental health issues. Not to mention, the spread of diseases like malaria and dengue fever is likely to increase as mosquitoes expand their range in response to a warmer world. And what about our economies and societies? Climate change can lead to scarcity of resources like water and arable land, driving up prices and causing economic instability. It can also trigger mass migrations as people are forced to leave their homes due to rising sea levels or extreme weather events. This can lead to social tension, conflict, and even wars. Perhaps most concerning of all is how climate change exacerbates global inequalities. The countries contributing the least to greenhouse gas emissions are often the ones that suffer the most from the impacts of climate change. It's a stark reminder that climate change is not just an environmental issue, but a social justice issue too. As we grapple with these challenges, remember this: our actions today determine the future of life on our planet. The decisions we make now, the technologies we invest in, the policies we implement, these will shape the world our children and grandchildren will inherit. Let's make sure it's a world they can thrive in. The question is not if climate change is real, but what are we going to do about it? As we've journeyed through the realities of our changing planet, it becomes clear that the time for debate is over. The time for action is here. Climate change is not just a problem for future generations, it's a problem that we need to address right now. We must remember that this isn't just about saving the polar bears or the Amazon rainforest. It's about safeguarding our own homes, our own communities. The impacts of climate change are not confined to any one corner of the globe. It affects us all, and therefore the solution must involve us all. Individuals hold tremendous power in this fight. Small changes in our daily routines can make a huge difference. Opting for public transport over private vehicles, reducing our consumption of meat, recycling and composting are just a few ways we can contribute. Even the act of spreading awareness, of educating those around us about the realities of climate change, is a form of action. But individual actions, while crucial, are not enough on their own. We need collective action, communities coming together to plant trees, clean up beaches, and build sustainable infrastructure. Schools and universities incorporating climate education into their curriculums. Businesses making a commitment to reduce their carbon footprints and invest in renewable energy sources. At a higher level, we need our governments to step up. They have a responsibility to enact climate-smart policies that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, protect our natural resources, and promote sustainable development. They need to invest in renewable energy, in public transportation in our cities and in our communities. And finally, we need international cooperation. Climate change is a global problem, and it needs a global solution. We need countries to come together, to share resources and knowledge, to work towards a common goal. We need international organizations to lead the fight, to set ambitious targets, and to hold countries accountable. The fight against climate change is a monumental task, but we must remember that this is a fight for our survival, for our children's future, for the future of all life on this planet. The good news is, we have the solutions at our fingertips. We have the technology to transition to a cleaner, greener future. We understand the importance of sustainable living. We know what needs to be done. The question is, will we rise to the challenge? Will we make the necessary sacrifices? Will we put aside our differences and work together? The power to change the course of our planet's future is in our hands. The time to act is now.